Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan battle video. In this video we're going to take a look at how AGL Super Buu, or Buu Super as he's called in game, performs at 55% in the hidden potential system. So Buu Super is a pretty interesting unit. He has 150% Majin Buu Saga and Heavenly Events category lead, which is honestly not too bad. It's a pretty decent lead skill, I want to say. Nothing crazy, but 150% are kind of if so, fact so, not too bad type of things. Then of course we have his super attack effects. These are actually pretty good. He basically raises his attack and defense, and he also has an AoE super attack, which is pretty crucial and makes him a pretty good unit for a lot of content. In terms of his passive, he activates the entrance animation once only, unconditionally. He has an additional attack and defense of 120% for the first 4 turns from the start of turn. He will have an additional attack of 30% if HP is 30% or more when attacking, an additional attack of 30% if HP is 60% or more, and an additional attack and defense of 30% when HP is 90% or more, which is all relatively good stuff. He has a great chance of guarding all attacks, and he also has guaranteed guarding of all attacks when his Majin Buu Saga or Fused Fighters category enemy. He launches an additional attack that has a high chance of becoming a super attack, whilst also having the ability essentially to build up his defense by taking hits throughout the course of battle. In terms of links, he's got Metamorphosis, Infinite Regen, Martian, Fear and Faith, Brutal Beatdown, and Wall Standing Tall, along with Legendary Power. He's a pretty strong unit overall, and I would say, he's pretty decent. And by pretty decent, he's pretty nuts. He's a really good unit that encompasses quite a lot of really good aspects. Firstly, he's really solid defensively, because his guard has a great chance to proc, which is 70%, which is a decent chance of proccing. He also has a very good attack, because when he gets hit, he will have an additional 100% attack. This is a multiplicative factor in his passive, which means it literally just doubles his attack, which is pretty clutch. You're going to see some nuts attack stats from him in the first 4 turns, because of the fact that he holds that additional 120% boost, as well as also having a big boost from launching his attack. You can see here, this is a 55% unit that is launching a 13.5 million AoE attack. Now, obviously, technically speaking, for most hard content, you actually want him to launch his attack or have his higher attack stats later on, because obviously, most hard content like Red Zone, LGE GT, Legendary Fighting Goku events, the Vegeta version, a lot of these events get progressively harder rather than easier, and so most times you want your units to launch some pretty big attack stats near the end, more so than obviously firing a whole bunch of them early on. Now his attack does drop down, but in general I think it still stays quite relative, even though he loses that boost. I think going from 13.5 and then going to like 8 mil is not really the end of the world. Here you're going to see him without obviously being hit before, so this is a nice way to see his attack stat without having that additional 100% boost, which is good. It's good to see a variety of attack stats from him. His defense was pretty low, but that's mainly because of the fact that obviously he'd been hit by a defense reducing super the turn before. So you can see it drops to 4 million. Like when he doesn't get hit first, his attack stats drop big time, which means if you really want him to be a shining star offensively, you're really going to want to stick him in that first slot. It's very imperative towards how well he does as a unit, because if he's not in that first slot, he's just not going to perform the same way you can imagine him performing in his primary position. So it's a little bit difficult, obviously to not use him, but you really want to prioritize that first slot. But even with his defense fully built up, we're looking at about 300k with a 70% chance to guard, which is good. He'll be defensively solid. He just may not be a defensive behemoth, you know. But here you can get a pretty good look at him. He's got support here. He's going to get hit first here. I believe he's like 2 attacks away from being fully built up defensively. He's got support from the Buu, and he's got all 6 links with the Tech Super Buu. So he's sitting in a pretty good situation. And his attack stat is solid. 8 million, very good. AoE attack stat, very solid. Followed up with a 4 million. Defense currently sitting at close to the 400k mark, if not more. And he also has 70% chance to guard. Not bad for a 55% unit. And by not bad, I mean pretty damn crazy. So obviously Buu is pretty good. But the real question is, why then, if he is so good, do people not really look like they want to summon for him? And the main reason for this is his team. His team is not overtly impressive in any way, shape or form. I think his team kind of sits in that half solid kind of position that units tend to sit in, whereby it's got some 2 or 3 really strong units that could definitely carry the team, or at least give it a chance at endgame content. But then you have like 2 or 3 units that just aren't great, or the roster is not big enough to have enough options to take on the endgame content. Now overall, I think he's really, really good. So if you are interested in using him, or you have him, then you should definitely take him. In terms of build, you want to go for crit, because it's the only thing he doesn't have in his passive, barring evasion, and he's defensively viable enough to not need evasion. In terms of his actual performance outside of that and build, just max out crit basically. Max out crit, and then you can kind of do whatever you want. But yeah, choose crit, at least for me. I find that to be good. Obviously you want to avoid giving him evasion, because you actually want him to get hit, so that he can build up his defense, so that you have a better chance of taking out the enemy, and him being more defensively viable later on in the game. Now he does excel against Majin Buu Saga units because his guard capabilities are always up. But in terms of his link set, he's got a very good one. Majin Buu units traditionally don't have big bad bosses except for Buuhan, but he does have Majin power. He has infinite regeneration. All of these are very, very, very strong abilities that allow him to mesh very well with a whole bunch of other units. So yeah, but I would say overall he's a very, very good unit. If you are interested in summoning for him, I highly suggest you do. Personally, I find him to be very solid in terms of performance, and I think he's a worthwhile addition to any team. The big question is the Majin Buu Saga or the Majin Power team really good enough now? And I'd have to say probably not. But if you put this guy on the right team as a floater, I think he can excel. He works really nicely alongside some of the other Majin Buu units, but I think they need a 200% leader skill and maybe one more unit to really make them look good. We are obviously getting the EZA for strength transforming Buu in future. That's going to help out a lot. But yeah, I would say right now you are currently in a situation where you kind of want to consider maybe not summoning him because of how many components he still needs to make a good team. And if there's anything holding him back, it's the fact that his team itself is just not really up there with all the other ones. However, he himself is, well, for me at least, a top unit. That's gonna be it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, and I'll see you guys next time. Till then, bye.